Did MSNBC just say Trump needs an intervention? That's not your average political jab. This is a full-on primetime call-out, and it's got everyone talking. In a world where cable news is always looking for the next big headline, this one definitely turned heads. It's not every day you see a major news network take such a direct shot at a former president, especially with language that goes way beyond the usual political mudslinging. This wasn't just a passing comment or a snarky aside. This was a deliberate, headline-grabbing moment designed to spark a national conversation. And, as you might expect, it worked. Yeah, you heard that right. The reaction was instant. Viewers at home, political junkies, even people who usually tune out the news, suddenly sat up and paid attention. It's not every day you hear a major network suggest a former president needs a family sit-down. The shockwaves rippled through living rooms, offices, and group chats across the country. People who normally roll their eyes at political coverage found themselves glued to the screen, wondering if they'd just witnessed a turning point in how the media talks about Trump. Even those who don't follow politics closely could sense that something unusual was happening. So here's the scoop. MSNBC host Lawrence O'Donnell didn't just throw shade. He basically said Trump's mental state has fallen off a sharp cliff. O'Donnell, never one to mince words, laid it out in stark terms. He questioned Trump's ability to distinguish fact from fiction, and even compared his recent behavior to someone in need of urgent help. It was a moment that felt less like political commentary, and more like a public service announcement. O'Donnell's delivery was dead serious, his tone more somber than sensational. He wasn't cracking jokes or making light of the situation. He was sounding an alarm, and he wanted viewers to know he meant every word. The panelists around him exchanged glances that said it all. This was a big deal, and they knew it. The claim? Trump's recent speeches and social posts are so off the wall, it's time for a family intervention. O'Donnell pointed to a string of rambling statements, late-night social media rants, and moments where Trump seemed to lose his train of thought. He even suggested that, if Trump were anyone else, his loved ones would be stepping in to have a serious talk about his well-being. The implication was clear. This isn't just about politics anymore. This is about basic human concern. O'Donnell painted a picture of a man unraveling in public, with no one around him willing or able to step in. He referenced specific moments, gaffes at rallies, bizarre claims online, and a general sense that Trump was becoming increasingly detached from reality. For O'Donnell, the evidence was piling up, and it was time to say the quiet part out loud. Now, the internet did not disappoint. Within minutes, the story was everywhere. Hashtags trending, memes flying, and everyone from political commentators to your aunt on Facebook weighing in. The digital world thrives on controversy, and this was pure fuel for the fire. Social media platforms lit up with hot takes, parody videos, and endless threads dissecting every word O'Donnell said. News aggregators pushed the story to the top of their feeds, and late-night hosts started prepping their monologues. It was the kind of viral moment that cable news dreams of, one that blurs the line between news and entertainment, and keeps people talking long after the segment ends. Some folks were like, finally, someone said it. For a lot of viewers, O'Donnell was just voicing what they'd been thinking for months. They saw his comments as brave, maybe even overdue, a necessary wake-up call about the former president's state of mind. Social media was flooded with messages of support, with people sharing their own concerns and stories about watching Trump's recent appearances. Influencers and activists jumped on the bandwagon, amplifying O'Donnell's message and calling for more open conversations about mental health and politics. For these viewers, the segment was a breath of fresh air, a moment of honesty in a media landscape that often feels scripted and sanitized. Others? This is pure political theater. Critics argued that MSNBC was just playing to its base, using sensationalism to score ratings and stir up outrage. For them, this was less about genuine concern and more about keeping the political drama alive. They pointed out that cable news networks have a long history of hyping up stories for maximum impact, and accused O'Donnell of crossing a line by speculating about someone's mental health on national television. Pundits on rival networks dismissed the segment as a desperate ploy for attention, and some even accused MSNBC of trying to influence the upcoming election by undermining Trump's credibility. The debate quickly became as much about media ethics as it was about Trump himself. And yes, Twitter had a meltdown. The platform exploded with hot takes, jokes, and passionate debates. Some users demanded medical evaluations, others accused the media of crossing a line, and a few just sat back and enjoyed the chaos. Hashtags like Trump intervention and MSNBC meltdown shot to the top of the trending list. People posted side-by-side clips of Trump's past and present speeches, analyzing every gesture and stumble. Some users even started online petitions, calling for official statements from Trump's family or medical team. The conversation was loud, messy, and impossible to ignore. A perfect storm of outrage, concern, and internet humor. Let's get nerdy for a sec. Is diagnosing someone's brain from a TV studio even a thing? Experts say, well, not really. Most medical professionals agree. You can't make a real diagnosis without a proper, in-person evaluation. TV hosts might spot odd behavior, but that's a far cry from a clinical assessment. Psychiatrists and neurologists weighed in on the debate, reminding viewers that mental health is complex, and that public figures are often judged by moments taken out of context. Some experts warned that armchair diagnoses can do more harm than good, both for the individual being discussed and for public understanding of mental health issues in general. The consensus? It's a slippery slope, and one that should be navigated with caution. Sure, there are warning signs, memory lapses, bizarre stories, confusing Alaska with Russia, but those could mean anything, from simple mistakes to something more serious. Without context, it's all just guesswork, and experts warn against armchair diagnoses, especially when the stakes are this high. The reality is, everyone has off days, and public figures are under a microscope 24/7. A single slip-up can be replayed endlessly, magnified until it seems like a pattern. But real mental health assessments require time, context, and expertise, not just viral clips and trending hashtags. The danger, experts say, is that we start treating speculation as fact and lose sight of the bigger picture. But unless you're actually in the room with the guy, it's all just speculation. No matter how many viral clips or trending hashtags you see, the truth is, only those closest to Trump and his doctors really know what's going on. The rest of us are left piecing together a puzzle with missing pieces, trying to make sense of a story that's as much about perception as it is about reality. It's a reminder that, in the age of instant analysis and 24-hour news, the line between informed opinion and wild guesswork is thinner than ever. And when it comes to something as serious as mental health, that line matters. Meanwhile, Trump fired back, as expected, calling the media crazy and doubling down with, wait for it, even more wild posts. He dismissed the whole thing as a smear campaign, accusing MSNBC of desperation and insisting he's sharper than ever. If anything, the controversy just seemed to energize him and his base. Trump's supporters rallied around him, echoing his claims of media bias and turning the story into yet another battle in the ongoing war between Trump and the press. The headlines kept spinning, with each side digging in deeper, convinced that they alone had the real story. For Trump, the uproar was just more proof that the media is out to get him. And for his critics, it was a sign that the conversation about his fitness for office isn't going away anytime soon. So, is this a legit health crisis or just classic political mudslinging? The line between genuine concern and political strategy is blurrier than ever. In today's media landscape, it's hard to know where the truth ends and the spin begins. Honestly, you decide. The debate over Trump's mental state is just the latest example of how politics, media, and public opinion collide in unpredictable ways. What started as a single segment on cable news has become a national flashpoint, raising questions about everything from journalistic responsibility to the boundaries of political discourse. And as the 2024 election looms, you can bet this won't be the last time we see these kinds of stories dominating the headlines. Hit the comments. Does MSNBC have a point, or are they just stirring the pot? Is this a real warning sign, or just another headline in the never-ending news cycle? Let us know what you think, because in the end, the conversation is just getting started. Whether you're a die-hard supporter, a skeptical critic, or just someone trying to make sense of it all, your voice matters. The story isn't over, and the questions raised by this moment will echo long after the news cycle moves on. So, what's your take? Join the debate, and let's keep the conversation going.